30 years ago. 6 Friends popped up on NBC and were welcomed into households across America and the world. Over 10 seasons, a total of 236 episodes ran for an entire decade until May 2004. Now, its working titles were Insomnia Cafe, Friends Like Us and 6 of 1, before finally settling on, of course, Friends. The final episode was one of the most watched finales in US television history. 52.5 million viewers tuned in. By that point, the 6 Friends had become part of so many people's lives, and it was hard to say goodbye.
This is harder than I thought it would be.
Oh, it's gonna be okay. Okay.
Well, do you guys have to go to the new house right away, or do you have some time? We got some time. Okay, should we get some coffee?
Sure.
Okay.
Where? And you've watched every single one.
Do you know, I watched that episode yesterday, and honestly,
yourself.
it did bring a few tears to my eyes. Listen, George Wood is the managing director of the Friends Experience in London and joins us now alongside the TV critic Scott Bryan, sitting on the place that they will have gone for coffee. Good morning to both of you. Perhaps we should start with you, George.
Morning.
Just tell us where you are and how you came to recreate all these sets.
Well, we are in Central Perk Cafe, as you say, on the iconic orange sofa. The Friends Experience came about because the fans were desperate for somewhere to show their affection for this 10 seasons of the greatest TV show ever made. And so we started working with Warner Brothers, building exact replicas of every single set, every moment, the fans' favourite bits from all the seasons. And it's been hugely successful. This one in London is now a permanent residency where fans can come and show their appreciation for Friends. But it started off with just that idea that people want to step into the world of Friends and exist in that world of those 6 characters just for a couple of hours, and they love it.
So, Scott, George is a super fan, Sarah's a fan, I presume you're a fan. For anybody who's outside the world of Friends, I'm pointing at myself, what was it about it that made it so enduringly popular?
I think, with these things, there's always a combination of things. I think it's just the basics. The writing was top tier, the acting was top tier. I think it also comes from an age of American TV in which there are 22 or 24 episode seasons. It lends itself to repeatable viewing, and I think many people have. This was a sitcom that had sort of 20 to 30 million people back then, but I'd say it's massively increased. But I also think there's that nostalgic factor. I think in the streaming age, many people are watching shows they've actually seen before as much as they're watching for latest streaming releases, and Friends is very much at the top of that list. I think you think about where you were when you were younger in your life when you were watching these shows now.
And Scott, my children, who are, we're 11 and 12, have watched the whole 236 episodes. It's different generations are finding their own place within Friends, aren't they?
They are, and I think that's the interesting thing, is that you've got the new generation of people coming through now, and I think it's about the references that then sort of people tied together. I think it's also a rarity in which, the chemistry, there's no sort of weak part in any of this programme. It's all of the sum of its parts. And it's also the fact that there are many references that will be kind of standing for test of time. I think what I find interesting here is that you've got the fountain by the entrance from the opening titles, you've got Monica's department next door, you've got Central Park. These are references that people will know for decades, and I was just reaching for my coffee a second before, only to realise it's actually part of the set. So I'm not doing that well here.
Better not do that here and tip the tea mugs upside down on this desk, otherwise it'll all fall out.
George, there's 236 to choose from. Have you got a favourite? George, favourite episode?
I do. They're all good. My favourite is the one where no one's ready. I think it's season 3, episode 2. It's basically where Ross is losing his mind, and Joey wears all of Chandler's clothes. I'm sure there's people who know that episode. It's always my go-to when everyone says, "What's your favourite episode?"
Yeah.
That one.
Just a thought from both of you. I mean, you referenced Warner Brothers, I think, in your first answer, George. Clearly, they've helped to set that up. The boss of Warner Brothers said there needs to be a reason to revive the show. There's been a lot of talk of it coming back because of this resurgence in popularity, because of the new people that are coming to the show, like Sarah's kids. Money is probably the best reason of all. Can either of you see this being reinvented for the modern age?
Personally, no, I really can't. I think Friends was of its time, and the incredible thing, as Scott says, is that new generations are finding it and loving it. So to try and recreate it with 6 new actors, I just could never see it working, because you'd always compare it to the original unfavourably because it was so perfect the first time round. So in some instances, it's better not to go back and tamper. And Friends, I think, is an example of that. Don't know what you think, Scott.
I mean, I think that Friends wrapped up in the way that, it had one of the best finales of any sort of modern-day American sitcom. So it's going to be hard to go and start that again. We are in the age of revivals and reboots. Of course, Gladiators was a big hit, but the expectations would be so high. And would the show be able to beat that? Probably not.
Scott, thank you. George, thank you to you as well. Very grateful for your time. Thank you.
I know what I'm binge watching for the rest of the day. That's all
More
from
of
us
it?
today. More breakfast. We'll be back at 6 a.m. tomorrow. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.